As the first motor vehicle, the Benz patent motor wagon hit the streets in 1885, and since then, designers, scientists, inventors, and innovators have all been working around the clock to build the next greatest automobile. And with things like amphibious cars, all-terrain vehicles, and vehicles ready for the zombie apocalypse, there are plenty of unusual vehicles out there for us to take a look at in today's video. So let's begin here on the top 15 most unusual vehicles. Number 15, the TRex. The first strange vehicle to kick off our list is really making waves, seismic waves. The TRex is a truck specially designed to mimic an earthquake on a small scale by using its large shaker to pound and thud the ground below. The vehicle can change its vibration orientation from vertical to horizontal with the simple push of a button. Those various seismic waves are then recorded by the T-Rex's sophisticated sensors placed along the ground surface, and engineers will gather that data to determine how to best build and rebuild structures in case of emergencies. The T-Rex is a bold step in building better earthquake-proof structures in those areas that see more seismic activity. This heavy 64,000-ton vehicle with 5-foot-tall wheels was already sent to New Zealand in 2013 to help local engineers grapple with the seismic challenge following a series of destructive earthquakes that shook the area just 2 years prior. The earthquake was so bad that about 7,500 homes were left abandoned after sustaining damage, and many of them were demolished. The T-Rex truck is owned by the University of Texas at Austin and is currently the only known operating tri-axle vibro-sized truck in the country. And while a truck that produces earthquakes may be strange, it's also pretty cool. Number 14, Ultra Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector. We've seen some pretty heavy vehicles manage to make their way into the water, from cars to motorhomes. You can't get any heavier than that, right? Well, think again. Ultra Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector is an awesome water vehicle and probably the best amphibious military vehicle on the market. It uses a special technology in the treading system that makes it incredibly lightweight and uses air-filled foam tires that exert only 1 pound of pressure per square inch. So for something so big, the Ultra Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector is still incredibly light, and it can handle literally any terrain on Earth and stands above the rest at 18 feet tall. But when it gets to the seas, this vehicle ain't backing down. Even with the heaviest possible load on board, it can travel on the water using its treading as paddles and can reach a top speed of 20 knots and go for about 200 miles non-stop. Not only is this the ultimate amphibious military vehicle, but the Ultra Heavy Lift Amphibious Connector is also one of the most fun amphibious vehicles on the planet. Of all places, this car is going to let you live your best Mad Max life at the expense of brain biters. I mean, look at this thing. It's outfitted with a spiked plow, spikes on the wheels, and floodlights on top so you know exactly a head turner when it's out on the road. His TMC Dumont motorcycle looks like it came straight from a Bond movie. It kisses the hubs goodbye and swaps out the traditional car engine for a 1960s Rolls-Royce aircraft engine to help give off that slick, futuristic vibe. The aircraft engine is situated right where the standard motorcycle engine and fuel tank would go, only it takes up significantly more space and almost serves as the TMC Dumont's full frame. So couple that with a 300 horsepower phase, it is very much real, and Tarso Marquez can even be seen cruising on it. And since it's so low to the ground, he needs to avoid speed bumps and potholes at all. The experience that we see here. From there, those 4 jet turbines pop out from the 4-wheel hubs, and within 60 seconds, you can say goodbye to the motorcycle. Is surprisingly light at 308 pounds, but delivers about 530 pounds of thrust for about 1,300 horsepower. And despite being so indiscreet during takeoff, the Volante conceals a kerosene tank within the composite body with enough fuel capacity to allow for a 10-minute flight. But once she does start flying, the rider has access to all of the essential flight information like speed, position, and altitude right on the dash. Joysticks on either side of the handlebars allow for flight control, along with a quick hit of adrenaline. And while this may not be the safest vehicle in the garage, those 4 jet cat turbines were made by the same people who worked on NASA's X-56A experimental aircraft, so it's still pretty legit. And luckily, the Volante can only hover about a meter off the ground, so there's no need to worry about flying off. And if you do somehow manage to fall off this thing, just make sure to do it with style. Number 10, Kamaz Flex Futuram. Sometimes the best designs have already been created by Mother Nature, so why not employ them on a bus or a truck? The Kamaz Flex Futuram is an awesome design concept from Elena Petrova and Konstantin Fedorov that has the potential to be the future of freight transportation. The Kama's Flex Futurum is made of an enormous caterpillar train that looks like it fits in better in a science fiction film, but the designers are hoping to have it on the road by 2040. Depending on the load it carries, the Flex Futurum can be 25 feet long or up to 65 feet long and is made from metal foam. So the vehicle's both durable and lightweight and can absorb any impact energy to help maintain the shape. Plus, Flex Futurum will run on motorized wheels powered by fuel cells, so this will be totally an emissions-free vehicle. And on top of looking great on the outside, the driver will have full access to the vehicle's bathroom, kitchen, and wardrobe, making those long overnight trips a breeze. Number 9. Hyundai HDC6 Neptune. Back in 2019, the Hyundai Motor Company unveiled the design concept for a pretty awesome truck. The Hyundai HDC6 Neptune may be a bit of a mouthful to say, but when you finally see it, it'll have your jaw on the floor. Named after the King of the Sea, the Neptune is a hydrogen-powered fuel cell electric truck with an awesome cab. And so while it may look like an ominous monolith on wheels, the driver will have access to some pretty off space on the crowded roads. In 2016, a scale model was finally built showing off just how efficient the TEB would be. Again, TEB would run along a fixed route, and the width of its passenger compartment would cover 2 traffic lanes, with the entire apparatus being about 15 feet tall. 300 people at a time, take up less space, and run as perhaps one day the technology and the money will be there to make this amazing futuristic bus concept a reality. Number 7. Nissan Pivo 2. Half car, half robot, all unusual. The Nissan Pivo 2 is, well, it's something. The concept was shown off in 2005 with the Pivo 1, but the Pivo 2 debuted in 2007 and was somehow an upgrade from its predecessor. This small pod with 4 protruding wheels is meant to look like a car of the future, but instead it looks like a failed Disney World ride. It's rough and frankly unfair to anyone who has to look at it. The Nissan Pivo 2 is fully electric, and the entire car is capable of swiveling the entire cabin around, so if you're bad at parking, this may be the perfect alternative for you. But everyone in the parking lot's going to be staring at you, because this can